Hi, I'm Jeanette Dorner, Executive Director of the Nisqually Land Trust. We are a small nonprofit organization that works with our community to protect and care for important fish and wildlife habitat in the Nisqually River Basin. The Nisqually River is in Washington State, located between Seattle and our state capital, Olympia. Its headwaters begin at the Nisqually Glacier in Mount Rainier National Park, and it flows 78 miles until it reaches South Puget Sound at the Billy Frank Jr. Nisqually National Wildlife Refuge. Our watershed is recognized by our state as a river of statewide significance. The river and the surrounding lands have been the homeland of the Nisqually Indian tribe since time immemorial. The Nisqually River is also home to 5 different species of salmonids: Chinook, coho, chum, pink, and steelhead. These salmon have been the lifeblood of the river and the tribe for thousands of years. The health of Pacific Northwest watersheds are directly linked to the health of the salmon runs. Salmon act as our canary in the coal mine, telling us when our rivers are becoming unhealthy. They also are a direct contributor to the health of the ecosystem, bringing valuable marine nutrients back from the ocean up into the headwaters to feed the forest, the wildlife, and the next generation of salmon. Over the last 150 plus years, as non-native settlers dramatically changed how the land and the river was managed, we have seen significant declines in our salmon populations. In Puget Sound, both our Chinook and steelhead are currently listed under the Federal Endangered Species Act. Our organization was founded to protect the health of salmon, the watershed, and ultimately the people of the Nisqually watershed by buying and caring for critical salmon habitat lands. Our creation was inspired by Billy Frank Jr., a Nisqually tribal member who fought for the treaty rights of his people for most of his life and who has received national and international recognition of his impact. 3 decades ago, Billy recognized that it was not enough to have the federal courts affirm that the tribe had the treaty-reserved right to continue fishing for salmon as they had for thousands of years if there were no more salmon to catch. He helped lead a collaborative effort to bring together all the people of the watershed to care for the Nisqually River. Recently, we had the opportunity to talk with our founder, George Walter, about how Billy inspired the creation of our land trust.
When I reflect on my years with Billy Frank, there's a lot of professional involvement, but also personal involvement. My calling was to, be smart about all things Nisqually in terms of environmental and habitat and salmon, and to give my best advice about how to protect it. A key part of Billy's Nisqually program was putting the Nisqually watershed back together. And a key part of that was building partnerships and taking advantage of opportunities. And when he and I learned about a land trust and creating a land trust, he said to me, "We got to have one of those." And that was my assignment. And within a few years, we did have one.
Since our founding, we have worked with our partners to protect over 8,700 acres of valuable habitat. That includes almost 140 shoreline miles of the Nisqually River and its important salmon stream tributaries. As part of the collaborative partnership to protect the salmon-producing shorelines of the Nisqually River, we have gone from 3% in protected status 30 years ago to 78% of the shorelines protected today. Each year, we work with more than 20 different conservation partners to protect and steward important Nisqually habitat. We also engage community volunteers to help us steward our lands, offering a work party on one of our properties every week of the year to either remove invasive plants or plant new trees and shrubs. We have had over 2,600 volunteers contribute over 34,000 hours over the life of our organization. So far this year, We have had over 200 volunteers donating over 2,000 hours. One of the most important things we can do to restore salmon habitat on the shoreline lands that we own is to plant trees in places where the original forests were cleared. We plant trees both with the help of our many volunteers as well as with the help of the Nisqually Tribe's native plant restoration crew. To date, we have planted over 400,000 native trees and shrubs on land trust properties. We continue to work to protect additional critical habitat lands in the watershed, even as we are stewarding the lands we have already secured. An example of one of our most recent exciting acquisitions includes the purchase of 174 acres of undeveloped forested land along 1 mile of shoreline on the Nisqually River late last year. Also, this spring, in a partnership with the Nisqually Tribe, we jointly secured 2,200 acres of forest land at the headwaters of one of our most important salmon tributaries. This purchase expands our community forest initiative, where we are working to transform the management of our privately held forests in the upper watershed to one that supports endangered species, helps sequester carbon, and improves stream flow. 5 years ago, as part of this community forest, we launched the first approved forest carbon capture project in Washington State, enrolling 520 acres into our program. This program is the equivalent of taking 6,600 cars off the road. Just last year, we expanded that carbon program to an additional almost 3,500 acres, and we may expand it even further next year with the additional acres we just purchased. These are just a few examples of the exciting projects we have completed recently. We are working hard on the next set of accomplishments that we hope to be able to announce soon. We are so grateful for the support of our watershed community, without which we would not be able to accomplish this important work.